That blue and yellow can sitting in your garage isn't what you think it is. For over 60 years, WD-40 has been solving automotive problems that cost drivers hundreds at the mechanic. Yet most people only use it for squeaky hinges. The following was originally created in 1953 for a completely different purpose, and understanding what it actually does changes everything about how you maintain your vehicle. Tonight, you'll discover manufacturer-approved WD-40 techniques that mechanics charge $150 to $300 for. Each application takes under 5 minutes, costs almost nothing, and can prevent expensive repairs before they start. The hidden purpose of WD-40. It's not a lubricant. Here's what shocks most people. WD-40 wasn't designed as a lubricant. Those two letters, WD, stand for water displacement, and that's exactly what it was engineered to do back when Norm Larsen created it for Rocket Chemical Company. The original purpose was protecting missile components from rust and corrosion by forcing water away from metal surfaces. That water displacement property is why it works in situations where traditional oils completely fail. When moisture seeps into electrical contacts, ignition systems, or metal joints, oil just sits on top of the water. WD-40 actually forces the water out and takes its place. The formula does contain lubricating oils, roughly 50% refined mineral spirits, plus anti-corrosion agents, penetrating compounds, and cleaning ingredients. But it's the water displacement that makes it invaluable for automotive work. This explains why spraying it on wet spark plugs restarts engines that oil-based products can't fix. It's why it prevents rust better than heavier lubricants that trap moisture underneath. Understanding this core function changes how you use it in your vehicle. You're not just lubricating, you're eliminating the moisture that causes 90% of automotive corrosion and electrical problems. The secret formula, locked in a vault somewhere in California for over 6 decades, was developed through 40 failed attempts before the team got it right on try number 40. That's literally where the 40 in WD-40 comes from. It was the 40th water displacement formula they tested. The door hinge trick mechanics never mention. Your door squeaks every time you open it, and that noise isn't just annoying. It's metal grinding against metal, slowly wearing down hinge points that will eventually cause your door to sag. Here's what actually happens when you spray WD-40 on squeaky hinges. The formula dissolves years of accumulated dirt, dried grease, and corrosion that regular lubricants can't touch. The penetrating agents seep into microscopic gaps between the hinge pin and barrel, breaking down the grime that causes friction. Spray directly onto door hinges, trunk hinges, hood latches, and even those annoying fuel door springs that stick during winter. Open and close the mechanism several times to work the formula deep into the joint. The noise stops immediately because you've restored the metal-to-metal clearance that friction destroyed. But here's what nobody tells you. WD-40 is a temporary fix for hinges. For long-term protection, follow up with white lithium grease or silicone spray after the WD-40 dries. The WD-40 cleans and frees the movement. The grease provides lasting lubrication that won't evaporate or wash away. This same technique works on interior door hinges, glove box latches, center console hinges, and convertible top mechanisms. Anywhere metal moves against metal under your car's body panels. This combination prevents wear and eliminates noise for months. The spark plug and ignition moisture fix. You turn the key after a rainstorm, and the engine just coughs. No start, no clean spark, just frustration. Before you assume it's a dead battery or call a tow, understand what's actually happening. Water sneaks into your ignition system through microscopic gaps in spark plug boots, ignition coil housings, and distributor caps. When moisture coats these electrical components, the spark finds the easiest path to ground, which means it's arcing to the engine block instead of jumping the spark plug gap inside your cylinder. Here's the fix that feels like magic, but it's just physics. Pop the hood and spray WD-40 directly on ignition coils, spark plug wire boots, and any exposed electrical connectors in the ignition system. The formula forces water out instantly and leaves a protective film that allows electricity to flow where it should. Wait 60 seconds, then start the car. It'll fire right up like nothing ever happened. The water displacement creates a dry surface that restores proper spark delivery instantly. This works on modern coil-on-plug systems and old distributor setups equally well. Make this part of your monthly maintenance if you live near the coast or drive through heavy rain often. A light spray keeps moisture from building up and prevents those frustrating no-start situations that ruin your morning. I've seen this save drivers from unnecessary $200 tow bills and diagnostic charges for problems that weren't actually problems. Just moisture where it shouldn't be, in humid climates or after car washes. This simple preventative spray takes 30 seconds and eliminates the most common cause of ignition failure that isn't actually component failure at all. Before you continue, hit that subscribe button and click like if you're discovering automotive tricks that actually save you money. The chrome and metal restoration trick. Surface rust and oxidation don't just look bad. They're the beginning of structural corrosion that spreads fast once it starts. Those orange spots on your exhaust tips, wheel rims, or chrome bumpers are eating through metal right now. WD-40 removes light surface oxidation and dull buildup from chrome and bare metal surfaces better than most dedicated rust removers. Spray it directly on affected areas, exhaust components, wheel rims, tools stored in your trunk, chrome trim pieces, and let it sit for 2 minutes. The penetrating formula seeps into the microscopic pits where rust forms and breaks the oxidation bond with the metal base. Wipe with a microfiber cloth and watch years of decoloration disappear. For stubborn rust, use fine steel wool with the WD-40. The combination cuts through oxidation without scratching the underlying metal. What makes this especially valuable is the protective layer it leaves behind. After removing surface rust, the thin WD-40 film acts as a barrier against oxygen and moisture, the two ingredients rust needs to form. This slows new rust formation significantly, especially on exhaust parts that face extreme heat cycles. Reapply every few months on vulnerable components. Exhaust tips stay shiny, chrome maintains its luster, tools don't develop that orange coating that makes them look neglected. It's preventative maintenance that costs cents and saves you from replacement parts that cost hundreds. The Rubber Seal Reviver. Here's something most people misunderstand. WD-40 doesn't restore dried out rubber the way dedicated rubber conditioners do, but it does something equally valuable. It removes the dirt, salt, and grime that makes rubber seals stick and squeak. Your door seals, trunk rubber trims, and weather stripping accumulate road salt, dried soap from car washes, and environmental contaminants. This buildup makes rubber stick to metal and creates that annoying squeaking sound every time you open a door. Spray a small amount of WD-40 onto a clean cloth, never directly on rubber, and wipe along the seal's length. The formula dissolves the surface contamination and temporarily softens the rubber just enough to restore flexibility. The clean surface slides smoothly against door frames without sticking or making noise. This prevents the kind of cold weather problems that frustrate drivers every winter. Clean, treated seals don't freeze the door frames on cold mornings. They maintain better compression against the metal, which stops drafts that make your heater work harder. And they last longer because you're removing the abrasive particles that cause cracking. The license plate screw savior. Few things are more frustrating than trying to remove a license plate and discovering the screws have rusted solid. You twist harder, the screwdriver slips, and suddenly you're one stripped screw head away from drilling out the fastener and damaging your bumper. This is where WD-40's penetrating power saves the day. Spray directly on rusted license plate screws and let it sit for 10 to 15 minutes. The formula's thin viscosity allows it to seep into the microscopic threads between the screw and mounting bracket, breaking down the rust bond from the inside out. After it's had time to work, use the proper screwdriver. Not too large, not too small, and apply steady pressure while turning. The screws that seemed welded in place will subtly break free without stripping. This trick is essential for cars kept outdoors, where rain and road salt create perfect conditions for fastener corrosion. Those tiny screws take the full assault of weather, and they're usually the cheapest hardware on your vehicle, which means they rust faster. Before reinstalling your plate, spray the screws lightly with WD-40 and wipe off the excess. That protective coating prevents the problem from returning and makes your next plate change effortless instead of infuriating. For states that require annual registration updates, this simple habit saves you from fighting corroded screws every single year. Sticky residue and tar remover trick. Tree sap, adhesive residue, tar spots, and oil decal glue. These substances bond to your paint with molecular level adhesion that soap and water can't break. Scraping risks scratching your clear coat. Harsh solvents can damage the paint underneath. WD-40 breaks down adhesives and tar without harming automotive paint. and hardly anyone uses it for this purpose. Spray directly on stickier glue, tape residue, tar spots on wheel arcs, or window decals. Let it sit for 60 seconds while the formula softens the adhesive bond. The solvents in WD-40 dissolve the molecular structure for sticky substances, allowing them to release from your paint surface. Wipe gently with a microfiber cloth, and the residue lifts away cleanly. For stubborn deposits, spray again and use gentle circular motions. This works on bumper stickers that have been baking in the sun for years, dealer decals that overstayed their welcome, and registration stickers that tear when you try to peel them off. The key is patience. Let the WD-40 do the work instead of scrubbing aggressively. After removal, wash the area with soap and water to remove any oily residue. Then follow up with wax to restore protection. Your paint will be smooth and clean without the scratches that scraping causes or the damage that harsh chemicals create. Professional detailers charge $50 or more for adhesive removal services that you can handle yourself in minutes with a product that costs less than $10. Which of these WD-40 applications surprised you most? That blue and yellow can does far more than silent squeaky hinges. It prevents moisture damage, frees rusted components, protects against corrosion, and solves sticky problems that would otherwise require expensive repairs or specialized products. Product's versatility comes from its unique formulation that combines water displacement, penetration, lubrication, and cleaning properties in one convenient spray. Over 2 million cans are sold every week worldwide. Yet most owners only scratch the surface of what this product can do for their vehicles. Start with the ignition moisture fix if you've ever experienced rough starts after rain. Use the rust prevention technique on your undercarriage before winter. And keep a travel-sized can in your vehicle for emergency situations where water displacement can save you from a tow truck. Share in the comments which technique you'll try first, and subscribe for more professional automotive knowledge that puts the power back in your hands. WD-40 has been solving problems since 1953. Now you know how to use it the way mechanics do, without paying mechanic prices.